So this is a beebeecraft.com collab video, and I have the Toho Seed beads from Beebeecraft. This is a rose gold 8 galvanized rose gold, and also I have rose gold 20 gauge wire. So I'm just going to take this and try something. So I have a lobster claw clasp on rose gold, but you can see the difference in the rose gold. This one is very pink and this one is a little bit of you know, if you can say a little bit golden rose gold color, right? So let's see if we can make a clasp for ourselves rather than using this lobster claw, which I would prefer to use it, but we can also make ours, right? So take the wire off and straighten the wire with nylon jaw pliers. Okay, I want to keep this loop simple, not so complicated. So what I'm going to go ahead and do is take the end of the wire and make a small loop, nice and closed. Take the other end of the wire, put it right in between my pliers on the biggest setting, and then bring it just like that. Okay, and also make a loop, and then once you make the loop, I want to cut the wire about say here a centimeter or so, not much. So I will just leave my wire inside this just for security purposes, and then also I take one of the cord ends. I want to put it inside that loop that we created, and then take this cord and wrap it around. Not much, just 2 wraps or so is good enough. Cut the excess off. Take your needle nose or tweezer nose pliers. In my case, I have the tweezer nose pliers to tuck the tail in. Just hold on carefully at an angle and then squish this off. There we go. Okay, now this one is attached and we have the loop here, and you can also cut this. You don't have it doesn't have to be, you know, like a loop. You can cut this, and you can do is take this end and then bend it over and squish it into a U. You can also hammer this down for added security if you want to. There we go. So that's done. So this one will come and clip on to this, right? But as you can see, it's a little bit tight. So I'm going to make a jump ring. First, you need to flush cut the end. Or no, let's just keep it here. And then just make a jump ring and the second biggest setting. I'll make a separate video on how to make your own jump rings. For now, I just made one thing which is very quick. So just keep in the mandrel and do that, and you can hammer this down so that it stays flat. So now we will attach our jump ring to one end of this cord ends and then close the jump ring. And now we have our clasp ready. So there we go, our clasp is ready. I used this 20 gauge wire, 0.8 millimeter. I don't think so this is 20, maybe it's 21 gauge maybe. Yeah, so that's that. That's done now. So we have some length for our bracelet already. So here we go. This is actually 1.5 inch length. So if I'm looking for a 7.5 inch bracelet, or 7.5 per se, that will be correct. So I need a 6 inch worth of leather. So now what I do is, now I know the leather I want to. So I take this, I cut it about, say, here. And take my scissors and make a cut. I don't want this part, so I'll just make one more cut, because the indented part I don't want to use it. Here we go. Then I have this measure and cut about, say, 3 lengths of cord, and I want to check whether my leather cord can accommodate this cord end or not, and whether I can add more strands to it or less strands. Those kind of things I need to check. So it looks like there is some space. I can add one more. So what I'm going to go ahead and do is take one more measure of this leather cord, and I want you to pre-stretch the leather cord and make it nice and smooth. You can also cut your leather with wire snips. That will also give you a flush cut. Whichever you can do it. So now that we have our leather cords ready, we can put away our handy dandy ruler, right? So now what we are going to do is take our ends together, all 4 ends, and then stretch these cords and move it around and take super glue or Loctite glue and then glue this into the cord ends. You can also use E6000 if you want to glue all of these to the cord ends, but super glue is an ideal glue to use here. I have glued in the ends, as you can see. While this is drying, I'm gonna work on my peyote stitch wrap for that. So I did glue that off the camera because it was super new glue, and I didn't want to take the risk of gluing my table nor my hands, my fingers or anything like that. We wouldn't want this much of the seed beads, but I just dumped it anyway. And this is a 2 by 3 millimeter faceted roundel crystal. I think I don't remember where I got this from. I have one strand. I'm going to use that with this as well. Okay, so and then I'm going to use some size 10 beading needle. You can also use size 12 beading needle and fire line. You can use any kind of fire line you have available with your stash. I'm going to use the white, and I'm going to use 0.006. I have only 8, a lot, but I can find this in white, or you can use a transparent matte color, whichever color you have available. I have only mostly white and black in wildfire or fire line. Let me see. Yes, so I'm going to use this. So I have about a wingspan of thread, wildfire, frost, actually it's not white, it's frost, and 0.0016 006. And the thing is, I'm going to a wingspan is if your hand stretched outside like this, completely outside, and then from one end of the fingertip to the other end of the fingertip, that is the wingspan. So what you do is you just flatten the end of your thread with needle nose or tweezer nose pliers, and then take your needle and insert the needle on top of the cord, and take your pliers to take the thread off. This is what seems to be easy for me. And also you need a stopper bead. A stopper bead can be any bead, any seed bead, or any bead that you have in your stash which is not the color of the bead that you're using to stitch. That's more important. So I'm gonna take something that I have here. Let me see. A blue color seed bead. So I take this, instead of putting the needle through and through, I'm just going to take this one and leave about, say, 6-inch tail so that we can weave it back inside, and then go. See this, I added the seed bead, I took the end of my cord and went back again through the seed bead, making a loop and then pulling it off. I need a 6-inch tail, so that should be a 6-inch tail, and that is a stopper bead. Now we shall start our peyote stitch. So peyote can be odd or even count. You can use either count you want. I added 16 seed beads. You can do any number of seed beads you want. That will determine the length of your wrap around your bracelet. I'm doing 16 beads. This is what Ali in Potomac Bead Company did it. So I'm doing 16 seed beads, and I dropped it down to my stopper bead. And then I turn my work around, and then that's my stopper bead, and this is my working thread. So I pick up one seed bead, leave the last bead that's on the strand, and go through the next seed bead. It's peyote starting the rows. So just pull that into place, and so the one that you just added, I want it to sit right next to the bead, so I just pull like that. Now you can see it's sitting right next. Pick up the next seed bead. Next, pick up one seed bead. Skip the next bead and go through the next bead in the row. Right? See how you have a staggered effect right there? That's what we want to achieve with peyote. I'll just move this because it's a little bit too much of a distraction, and I'll zoom in a little bit more so you can see clearly what I'm doing here. So here we go. Okay, it's easy with 8 seed beads. 11 seed beads, it's not that so easy, so that's why I'm using 8. Otherwise I would prefer to use 11. You pick up another seed bead. My thread is exiting out of this bead. I skip the next bead in the line and go through the third bead, just like so, and pull this through. That will force it to sit right next to each other, just like this. Pick up another seed bead, skip the top one and go through the next one above the one and pull through. So hold on to this carefully, because the first 3 rows are the formative rows of peyote and you don't want to make a mistake there. Pick up a next seed bead, skip the next one and go through the third one. When you pull this, this is what you should have. Okay, pick up the next seed bead, skip the next one and go through the next in the line. So this is where my thread is exiting. I skip this seed bead and then go through the next one in the row. Pull that. Now your work looks like that. Pick up another seed bead, skip one bead and go through the next bead. Pick up a seed bead, skip another bead and go through the last seed bead in our row. So now this is actually 3 rows in peyote, because we are skipping and adding in this fashion. It's actually 3 rows in peyote, right? So now I would like to shift my work like that. Now my working thread and the end thread is in the same position. Now what I do is, my thread is exiting out of this seed bead right here. Okay, pick up another seed bead and go through this. This is where my thread is coming. I go through the next seed bead sticking outside. Okay, pick up a seed bead and go through the next seed bead which is sticking outside. It becomes very easy once you do the first 3 rows. Then peyote becomes very straightforward. Pick up another bead. This is the gap that you're going to fill with the seed bead, so go through the next one which is sticking out. Pick up a seed bead, go through the next. So for peyote stitch you would want to use quality seed beads, that means branded ones, because they have uniform size and your peyote will look beautiful. Otherwise, if there is uneven shape and sizes, then your peyote stitch obviously will not look good and you will see threads outside, which we don't want in our project. But and bead weaving, some projects can accommodate the non-branded ones, but this peyote stitch, I would advise you guys to get Toho, Miyuki or something, Cheklas. Actually, I would prefer Toho or Miyuki for peyote. See, I have gone ahead and added beads all the way here. Now my thread is exiting out of this bead, so I flip my work again. Now my end thread is up there and my working thread is down here. So pick up a seed bead, go through the next. So the number of rows that you put on, this is actually the fourth row. 1 2 3 is there, and fourth, and this is the fifth row. So once you're done with the fifth row, we will start probably doing the crystals, and then we'll come back to, sorry, I bumped the camera. We'll come back to do this again. So here is what it is, and I will do one more row and I'll meet you guys back. So I finished that row as well. Now I can, that's 5 rows in peyote. Okay, now I can add the crystals, the roundels, right, and just cut it off. And these are, as you can see, these are not a single colored one, these are multicolor, and I just want to keep that randomness in the peyote as well. You can also, I can also do like color, I can separate the colors and do it, but I just want to do it random. I hope I flip the work, my thread is exiting out of this bead right here, and if I pick up a coral one first, right, and I go through the seed bead exactly how I did the previous time. The only thing I am doing different is adding a crystal in the space of a seed bead. So I pick up the next crystal and I go through the next bead that is sticking out in this row. See, it actually fits perfectly in the gap. So if you can have a crystal that is slightly jutting out or slightly big, so it will be a completely different thing altogether. But this one is pretty much the same, but nevertheless it will become very pretty, trust me. I love peyote stitch. It's time consuming, but so the results are so worth the effort we put in. As you can see, I'm randomly picking up the beads. I am not following any particular sequence or pattern right here. I'm just picking up the color of the beads is very random here. That's what I'm trying to say. I just did that. So how many rows of crystal? It's slightly bit big. As you can see, the structure of the peyote is widening at the end, right? So the number of rows of the crystal depends solely upon you. So you can go ahead and do how many rows you want and limit the number of seed beads and vice versa. Now picking up a crystal and going through the crystal that's jutting out in this line. So I'm forming the next line of peyote, right? See, as you can see, don't pull a lot tighter, just pull it gently in this case, because I know it's jutting out, right? So, and it's also slightly bigger, so this row is crucial. And go through the next crystal in the line. I'll finish couple of rows in terms of peyote. I think I will do at least 3 or 4 rows, because I don't want to do more, because I want to come back and attach this to the seed bead, and then I have to see how far it fits my leather cords. So I'll finish a couple of rows and come back. So I finished 5 rows of the crystal. My thread is exiting out here, so I flip my work, and as you can see, it has spanned out a little bit, but nevertheless we are going to start seed beads now. Pick up a seed bead, skip that last crystal and go through that crystal which is jutting out. Just be careful with the crystal. You can see, because it's a little bit bigger, it'll be kind of jutting it out and then not falling into place properly. But once we start a couple of rows of the seed beads, it should be proper again. Skip a bead, go through the next one which is jutting out, and pick up a bead, go through the next crystal. So I'll start the seed bead row and finish a couple of rows and come back. Probably 4 rows is good enough in my opinion. Let's see when we get there. So pick up a bead and go through the next one which is jutting out. Pick up a bead, go through the next crystal, pick up a bead, and next pick up a bead, go through the next, go through the last. Now you flip it over, take a seed bead, and then go through this. So go through the seed bead right here, because our last is the crystal. So now pick up a seed bead, go through the next seed bead, and vice versa. I'll finish a couple of rows and come back. I finished some 4 rows actually, and then I'm just checking whether this will accommodate my leather pieces or should I need more rows. I think 2 more rows should be, yeah, that's should be good enough. So see, when I do the rows, it just kind of curves. So that's that, and you can keep it this way as well, because anyways it's going to wrap our leather. So here we go again. Pick up a seed bead and go through the next seed bead in the row which is sticking out. Okay, tighten those up, go through the next one, so this number of rows depends purely on how many leather strands you have in your bracelet. If it's a thicker one, or you have more strands, then 2 more rows to cover that. I think mine will be nice, and it won't be tight. It will definitely be movable, I think. So this is my starting cord, which I don't want it to get in the way. Pick up another one, go through the next, another, go through the next. So I did 1 2 3 4 5 rows, and if I come and see this, both have jutting out beads on the same direction. That means I need one more to actually zip that up. So I have to go ahead and make one more row so that I can make this into a tubular form around my leather bracelet. So this leather bracelet has a lot of things that you can do about. You can add charms to it. You can thread in some beads before you glue it. There's so many things that you can do with it. As I said, you need Toho or Mayuki branded seed beads to do peyote. We are done. So this is what our piece looks like right now. So I'm just taking this and keeping it like that. Basically, I'm going to take this stopper bead off. And now I'm going to zip this up. So now I am going to zip this up by putting it around my leather pieces. See this, if you take it closer, it automatically fits in like a puzzle. So my thread is coming out here, right? So I will just go here to the other side and basically tighten that up, and then come back up here to this side like zigzag pattern. Going to do it like the zigzag pattern and come here and come back here. See what happened here? My loop went around the just make sure that your thread path is nice and clean and it doesn't get stuck somewhere else. So in the next video we will make, can you see what happened? Something happened here, right? So just go ahead and make sure I didn't do anything wrong. There we go. So in the next video we will make a peyote tube, and then we'll make some dangles out of it. It's been quite a while since I did a peyote video on my channel. It's a precursor for another project which I never got to it at all. So I'm thinking I will do it now that we are done with this project. So it will be easier to follow if you do this. Peyote is a versatile stitch and it's good to have under your belt. Don't get intimidated by it. It's an awesome stitch and it's easy, and you will know if you make a mistake. So that's also a very good indicator that you can easily learn the stitch, and then if there's a mistake, you will know it and then you can correct it immediately. See this, it's a little bit loose here, but don't worry about it. Here we have our 2 chords, which is the opening chord, that's why it was loose, and then this is so what I can do here is I can I'll move these beads ahead just like so. I can take these 2 chords and then tie an overhand knot, and one more. Okay, now take this cord and then go through this connection one more time, zigzag fashion, and then I'll do some half hitch knots and cut the tail off, and also I will just go diagonally just like that. Okay, and just pick a thread underneath and come back, and then see this needle is going through that's a knot, and then go through the next one and also here, then pick up a thread underneath, make a loop and go through the loop and come back and tie a knot, and then go crisscross this side. So your thread path is nice and secure. I went like this and I'm doing knots. I will do the same with this thread also, the end thread, the starting thread, the tail. So I will put a needle on it and then I'll go through a couple of beads and tie the knot, and vice versa. So this is very pretty, and you can also wear it like this or like that. This is the ideal one because it's bulging obviously, and I really like this rose gold one, and really sits comfortably in your wrist. I hope you guys like this video. Let me finish this off and come back and show you guys the end result. So this is the bracelet. It looks really pretty and I really like it, and I have 4 strands inside. It's a 2mm leather, and I really like the way it turned out to be. Very, very pretty, and I like the inside too. I wish I just did a band without even the crystal. That looks extremely pretty because of the Beebeecraft seed beads, the Toho seed beads, of course. It's gonna be nice, right? I hope you guys like this video. If you do, give it a thumbs up, subscribe to my channel, don't forget to hit the bell icon for notification. I do upload videos a couple of times a week. Thanks so much for watching. Have a good day. Bye. So this product, and also the wire that I used to make the clasp, I bought it from beebeecraft.com, and Beebeecraft has a YouTube program. If you have 100 subscribers or more, you can approach Beebeecraft and you can join the program, give your email address and your channel details and stuff. They'll send you free stuff for I think up to $40, and then you can purchase stuff and then review, unbox the products. That's so awesome, right? So if you want to, I will leave down the description box below a link for this particular 8 Toho seed beads, and also this wire, and this one is special copper wire for jewelry, 0.8mm. Thanks so much for watching. Don't forget to check out Beebeecraft. Have a good day. Bye.